If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I've never been personally critical of him, but yeah, he does bear responsibility for the divisions. He has the biggest megaphones. But I think when we see Hillary Clinton say that when she said, when they go low, we need to go low, or Eric Holder, when you go low, we need to go low, everybody needs to knock it off. But obviously the guy with the biggest megaphone is the one that really has to be careful. I'm told that at his rally tonight, he offered some conciliatory words. I'm pleased to see that. I think it's important.
That's the guy I voted for, John Kasich. And then, of course, during the thing, he also chanted, lock her up, when it came to Hillary. I said it today. I did a video earlier today, and I'll say it again. Trump blames the media. Media blames Trump. I blame both. Everybody's got a part to play here. Democrats, you have a part. Stop looking at everybody else and saying, you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem. Trump, stop looking at everybody else and saying, you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem. The reality is everybody has a part to play in this. Every single person has a part. Now we have new things coming. De Niro, Biden, apparently it's come from Florida. This is not helping us at all. And the thing is Trump says things, he rallies the crowd, he does this thing. It drives me crazy, some of the stuff he says. But at the same time, he'll say something like this and the media skips over it.
In these times, we have to unify. We have to come together and send one very clear, strong, unmistakable message that acts or threats of political violence of any kind have no place in the United States of America.
Absolutely. Right? I agree 100%. Trump going out and saying some of the things he says about the media and stuff like that, about his opponents. And they say it's you know what's funny is the way that they attack each other in ads. It's overlooked, kind of like cartoons. Cartoons can be completely politically incorrect. Right? You can say things on Family Guy or South Park that if human beings said them, and let's remember, human beings draw them, they write them, they illustrate them, they animate them, they direct them, they voice them. But for whatever reason, if a puppet or a cartoon says it, we're like, oh. But the thing that makes me laugh is if stuff said inside of commercials or whatever in this time of year, it's almost like, we allow it to happen. It's when things are said in person that it gets kind of weird, and that's what happens with Trump, right? Because Trump will say things, and he does it in person. So what ends up happening is the media comes out and attacks him. Yesterday, listen to this, and this is, first of all, they're blaming him for bombings that didn't happen. Attempted bombings, I don't know. They never, so far I've gotten, different information on whether or not these things were even viable. Either way, it's a horrible situation. But the media comes out, and this is their part.
We are living in an atmosphere where hate and violence have been incited, condoned by Donald Trump.
We are in an era now where violence seems to have license by the President of the United States.
Fox News hasn't gotten a bomb yet.
And there is no human being more responsible for the climate we're in than Donald Trump. Today is
calling us the enemy of the American people, for example. Fake news has that stoked these violent tendencies, at least in some people.
Let's remember, we have a president who has talked for couple of years now about imprisoning his political rival in Hillary Clinton, who has encouraged violence against the media.
It's hard to see this outside of the context of the president's hostility towards Mrs. Clinton, who tried to briefly speak towards unity, towards Barack Obama, towards George Soros.
Yeah, you listen to that. I like how when somebody said, "Well, Fox News hasn't got one," so that's what's happening. That's the kind of stuff. So there's their part. Trump has his part. The media has their part. Hillary Clinton and some of the others out there, they also have their part to play in this. Nobody wants to be able to say, you know what, we have some personal responsibility here because the rhetoric has been ramped up. And this is the thing about the rhetoric. Not everybody understands that it's just that. It's talk. It's sound bites. It's noise. Some people don't get the game. They're not in on the joke. So they take it serious. I don't know who this person is. I was talking to my mother last night about this, and we got on the topic of this right here about the whole bomb, and her and I were like, does it really matter who sends these things? The person has problems. If it's somebody on the right sending them because they believe these people to be the enemies of Trump and the Republican Party in America, that person has serious issues and needs to be dealt with. If it's somebody on the left that is doing this because they feel this is going to help them in the midterms, that person has serious issues. Doesn't matter. The person has a problem. And we're finding out this person apparently, or at least everything has been sent from Florida. So I don't know. But what I do know is we're in a situation right now where we have become so tribal. We have become so awful towards one another. And by that, I mean a small group of people that are the loudest in the room, who suck the oxygen out of the room. And the rest of us are just doing our thing, and we need to just maybe pull our heads up a little bit, take our heads out of our phone, and go, whoa, 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 whoa. You know what? We're going to take over now. The alt middle, or as Fortune put it, the exhausted majority in a great article yesterday. Because that's the way 67% of people are described in this new test that's out there. We're going to post it on the Facebook and on Twitter as well, as the exhausted majority. It's essentially 6% on either side is this crazy fringe wing of the party, but they seem to be the one that makes all the noise. And this isn't helping us at all.
You may not end up agreeing with your critics, but you ought to at least listen. And we can ride the anger. We can continue to be tribal, or we can solve the problem.
Boom. Trade-offs in life. That's John Kennedy right there. He needs his own show. He's funny, right? But that's exactly what it is. It's trade-offs. We don't do that. Later on in the show, bottom of the hour, GREGG HURWITZ is going to join us. He's out doing what I think needs to be done on both sides. He's going out and he's working with the Democratic Party, trying to fix a lot of their issues and their messaging. And he's doing it in a way that is not Bernie Sanders, is not Ocasio-Cortez. And we're going to have, I think, a hell of a discussion. He's a good guy. We disagree on a lot of things, but you know what? The beauty of it is we also agree on some stuff, but we never get to that point of the things that we agree with, because so far our parties that are available to us in a real way are so, as far as I'm concerned, they're both sick. Both of them have real issues. They both have viruses inside of the parties, and it's not doing us any good whatsoever.
And the people on the left and the right, they share that anger. They just are angry at different people. They're angry at the political and the economic establishment. We have let them down. We can do better. But we're not going to do it by using hot political rhetoric that encourages people to hate each other. And all I'm saying is that there are plenty of folks on both sides that have done it, and they're all guilty. We're all responsible.
Boom. Somebody finally said it. We're all responsible. We're all responsible. The left, the right. Nobody wants to take any responsibility for what's going on out there. The angry rhetoric, the disdain that one side has for the other side and the other side has for the other side. Nobody wants to go, you know what? I'm partly to blame in this. I got a little heated. I've said some stuff. Nobody ever wants to do that because everybody always wants to be right. There's this need now in this country to be always right. And it's 100% of everything or nothing. I joked. And I continue to joke, if the Republicans and Democrats were human beings, if you will, like just singular human beings, and they won the lottery the other day for $1.6 billion, neither of them would take the money because the others, if they each had a winning ticket, because they would have wanted it all or nothing. And that's the world that we have right now because of a small group of people that are being able to dictate too much of the damn conversation in this country. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
The estimated 800 to 1,000 active duty troops would deploy to the border to help with logistics like building fences or putting up tents for border authorities. The service members would not be working in a law enforcement capacity or engaging with migrants. Defense Secretary James Mattis would sign off on the order. There are already 2,000 National Guard troops at the border called up by Southern governors.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. Trump has threatened this, and this caravan is at anywhere between 8 and 10,000, depending on who you're talking to. And it's, it's funny. This is where, like, the crazy right and the crazy left, they've always got their conspiracy theories, and it's Soros is funding this, or it's, the Democrats have put this together. And so what, you found 10,000 crisis actor people that are willing to make a treacherous walk from wherever to here? Is that what it is? I'm curious. Like, I'm curious about, I'm not saying that there's not people along the way that aren't there to help, but I'm saying, how do you go about in doing that? How do you get that many people that are willing to jump aboard? Is there a contract you sign? I'm just, it's curiosity. I think we're allowed to be curious. I don't know what's going to happen. They're having issues. Some small towns have taken some people into custody. In the overall scheme of things, by the time it gets here, I don't know how big it's going to be. And it's going to be one of these things where this will be a little something for the next few days, if that. The bombs have overtaken it, but eventually, unless there's more bombs and unless they find somebody, it'll dissipate, and then it'll become this again, and then this will dissipate, and then it will get bigger as it gets closer to the borders. And I say borders because I think eventually it's going to break into bits and pieces, and you'll find some staying towards the Texas side, some will head towards Arizona, some other ones will head towards California. But I don't know. I don't know. And this is one of those things where it's like, there's a perfect example. I was talking earlier to somebody of most of the time when I talk to somebody who we differ politically on certain things, and I think most of you guys, if you were smart enough to understand that, because I like to think that my listeners and the people that pay attention are smarter than the average bear. And even if they slant to one side and it's pretty solid, they're open-minded enough. More often than not, we want to get to the same place. We just differ on the directions we want to take. Right? Some of us want to get there as an individual. Some of us want to get there on the bus. Some of us some of us are going to walk there. We want to get a lot of times to the same place. It's just the way that the route that we're going to take. How are we going to get there, and who's going to pay for it along the way? And I think that if we start looking at things like, hey, that's a good, you're right. We do want to get there. We do want good education. We do want health. I have yet to run in somebody on the Republican side of the aisle, if you will, that says, oh, I would like for nobody to have health care. I think everybody would like for everybody to have health care. It's just the way that they want it done is they'd like the individual to be a part of this. And they understand that there are people out there that are incapable for whatever reasons, in certain circumstances, that they're never going to be able to do that themselves. And for that, they got no problem. And the other side is like, well, everybody should have it. And we all want the same thing. It's just, how do we pay for it? How do we get there? What's the best route to take? Where is the compromise in this? Same thing for immigration. I've yet to meet anybody on the left except wackos who want open borders, right? It's just differing on how they want to enforce these things. It's the same, it's that kind of issue we should be talking about. Okay, we agree that we shouldn't have this. So how do we go about fixing it? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you each and every day. In the United States of America, at this very same time, we like to roll something out to you that just lands at your feet. And it's even got a handle, and you can pick it up, and you can use it how you will. We call this our urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
Now, this was very interesting. I was like, wait, what? Because I heard this. I'm a ginger, right? So everybody knows what a ginger is, right? The redheaded person, the gingers. But somebody said to me, I heard this. I'm like, what is this? They're like, it's Ranger or Ranger. I'm like, what is that? They're like, oh, that's another word for ginger. And I'm like, wait, how did you get to how does this happen for ginger? They're like, yeah, you didn't know that? I'm like, no. Yeah, you're a Ranger. I'm like, oh, with a W. That means you're a ginger. I'm like, I have no idea. You guys come up with stuff every day. I'm so glad I get in the loop every once in a while. Ranger, your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
But I will say this. They said you're a Ranger, kinda. Ranger light. Because it also means somebody with pasty skin and freckles. And I never had pasty skin and freckles. Now, I did get burnt. I'm not going to lie to you there. But I didn't have pasty. Now, my sister, she had red hair and she had the pasty skin. And when she got sun, oh, goodness me, she went super freckly. I never had that issue. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So you're bummed, Mega Millions gone, but fear not.
Okay, so it wasn't that big a jackpot. But now you're thinking that you really could have used that more than $600 million in last night's Powerball drawing? Well, you get another chance. No one matched all of the numbers in the multi-state lottery. That means Saturday's jackpot grows to an estimated $750 million.
Yeah, still a lot of money, right? I mean, it's not that kind of money, but it's a pretty big amount of money. Crazy, right? I drove by today. It still said $750 million on the thing, but the other one only said $40 million. The Mega Millions. You're like, oh, that's kind of sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Woo, Megyn Kelly, right? You thought you were talking about costumes. The next thing you know, you're on your way out of here. Talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to the show. I'm Megyn Kelly, and I want to begin with two words. I'm sorry.
Wednesday morning, Megyn Kelly started her NBC morning show with an apology. Thursday, she was not on the air, and she won't be on the air Friday either. This after some comments about Halloween and blackface that started a controversy, with many, including NBC's Al Roker, calling on Kelly to apologize. Several reports say Kelly is on her way out at NBC or she'll be reassigned, and the cast of House of Cards was due to appear on her show next week, but have pulled out because of the controversy.
Of course we've pulled out because we're good liberals and we are forgiving and open-minded. And rather than come on your show and say, why'd you say that?
we decided not to because we are open-minded. God, it's just, this is the stuff. You want to know why Trump's president? Boom. You want to know why Trump's president? Boom, boom, boom. It's called reaction. This is a reaction to stuff like this. People are sick and tired of it. I don't think the left understands that. And I'm not talking about Democrats, right? Just the person going about their day that's Democrats, maybe pro-choice, pro-union, stuff like that, middle America Democrats. I'm talking about elitist San Francisco, Seattle, Los Angeles, New York Democrats. This stuff matters to them. Average Democrat doesn't give a rat's ass. They want to know, are you going to try to fix health care? Because you guys said you were doing something good and then you broke it. So you're going to fix it? Because the Republicans are saying something over here, and I'm worried that they're going to break it even more. But you guys broke it in the beginning. But somebody needs to stand. Are you going to fix this? I got issues. I got things going on. Right? No, she's out. She's out because she's racist. She's racist. I've never met anybody in my life so racist. Not really. What was she talking about? She was talking about, Chad, you're a cisgendered male identifying and biological male, by the way. Cracker. You don't understand. What don't I understand? That you had her on the show to talk about cultural appropriation and things like that. Somebody brings it up, and she says in this soundbite thing that she was talking about at Halloween. Is it appropriate for somebody to dress up? And she said, if somebody's doing it, say as an homage to Diana Ross, is that bad? She said, I don't think it's bad. At no point did she say, I love the Ku Klux Klan. I'm part of the alt-white. I love Al Jolson. I think all of these things are hilarious. Jim Crow was made. She never said any of those things. Right? My son this year, he's going to be he's got 12 different costumes. Right? But one of the things he wanted to be was Odell Beckham Jr. He wasn't going to do blackface, obviously. But him wearing the outfits and everything, wouldn't it have been somewhat flattering for Odell? I'm sure he would have been fine with it. But that's the kind of stuff where people lose their... And you're like, what? So now you're gone. And there's another thing here, too. She wasn't liked a lot by people at NBC. She got a huge contract. She was the golden girl. They brought her over, and one of the reasons they brought her over because they wanted to steal her from Fox. So they do that. You had a lot of people around there that were jealous of her, who weren't huge fans of her anyways, and she came from that place, that dirty place, that dirty, evil place that's on the right, that dirty, evil place, so she too must be tainted. So she's going to get $69 million, or what's left of her $69 million contract to walk away. They're negotiating a settlement. And the settlement may go, she'll get, if she's due 35, they may say, we'll give you 25, but we won't restrict you in what you're able to do, meaning you could go back to Fox, which is what the rumor is on the street. They've been in negotiation for this. And the other thing is her numbers weren't good. Winning solves a lot of things. We forgive people. And I look at this and say, the way that the people at NBC has come after says to me a lot. That maybe she wasn't as liked there as she would like to have been. Some of that may be the fact that they just couldn't stand her. And others might be her attitude was horrible. And so, because if you're loved and you do something and your numbers are good, people are more apt to forgive you. And also, people are more apt to come out on your behalf and say, whoa, this is stupid. I know so-and-so. I haven't heard a lot of that. I haven't. Now, do I think it's ridiculous? Of course. I absolutely think. Don't you? I mean, can you be honest with yourself? Don't you kind of think it's a little ridiculous? Right? Don't you kind of? Just a smidge. There's a smidge of insanity in something like this. But we live in a world now where this is what it's all about. It's all about punishing people. It's all about the punishment. How can I punish you? What can I do to destroy you? I don't just want to get you to apologize. I want to destroy you. I do. And here's the other thing. She comes out, she starts her show off like this.
I'm Megyn Kelly, and I want to begin with 2 words. I'm sorry. You may have heard that yesterday we had a discussion here about political correctness and Halloween costumes. And that conversation turned to whether it is ever okay for a person of one race to dress up as another. A black person making their face lighter or a white person making theirs darker to make a costume complete. I defended the idea, saying as long as it was respectful and part of a Halloween costume, it seemed okay. Well, I was wrong, and I am sorry.
And I thought to myself, who are you apologizing to? Just curious. We see all these stars come out and apologize. Like Roseanne had a human being she should have apologized to, right? When she did that tweet. So you understood that. But who are you apologizing to? And that's one of those, like, we want everybody, we demand everybody apologize. Right? Samantha Bee does what she does to Ivanka Trump. You need to apologize to her. Do it in whatever way you want. You want to come out. But the whole mea culpa to the world as if, okay, good, because I couldn't go to work unless I got that apology. Because I was underneath the bed, curled up in a fetal position, terrified for my life. But now that you've apologized, whoever you are apologizing for whatever you did, it's okay. Whew, thank God. My God, I was so worried. Is it the stupidest thing in the world? It's like when Norm Macdonald was going to go on the Tonight Show, and then people came up and they had reservations about him coming on after the whole Me Too thing, and there were people that were, well, they were visibly shaken up by it. I think if you're visibly shaken up by what Norm Macdonald had to say, you need to go get yourself some help. You need to get yourself some help. You don't understand. What don't I understand? That a celebrity who you've never met said something that you don't agree with, and because of that, you're upset to the point of visibly shaken? Has anybody listening ever been visibly shaken up to the point where you could not potentially do your job, whatever that job is, because somebody tweeted something, said something? And I'm not talking about your wife or your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your son, your daughter, whatever. I'm talking about a celebrity. Have you ever been and felt that you were owed an apology? No. Never. Producer Phil, I will ask you, have you ever felt you were owed an apology for something by somebody who was famous?
No.
Okay, there we go. So there's 2 of us. I'm sure somebody's going to tweet me, Chad, you just don't understand. No, I don't. That's why I want you to explain it to me. I want you to explain it to me. And but this is the power, and here's what it is, and make no doubt about it, it is a power play for a lot of these things. NBC did not, she has struggled since she's been at NBC, right? Her show and her numbers have kind of been in the dumper there. And part of that is because in many ways, she typecasted herself as the person who was on the right and the whole 9 yards. And because she was on Fox. So by default, that was going to happen. But also because she dealt with a lot of political stuff that not everybody wants to come on your show that trust you because of Fox, because they're all caught up in, this crap. So that was a bit of an issue. So nobody really a lot of people couldn't see past that point of who she was. So her coming and saying, let's talk about recipes or let's talk about online dating, people weren't buying that. Even though that's what she probably wanted to do. She wanted to be the next Barbara Walters. The reality is people never got past some of that. And I don't think she was, from what I understand, and this is only a couple of people that have worked there, is across the board, she was not liked. Some people were jealous because of the massive salary and felt like, whoa, we're here and this is what you're doing. And other people were like, she wasn't really loved there. And she didn't really ingratiate herself on a lot of people, and she wasn't super humble about it, and she made her presence known. And so, yeah. I don't know. A lot to it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody's totally going to text me and say, you know what? I felt I was deserved an apology. I've never felt like I deserved an apology for anything. You know when you deserve an apology? Is when a star or a celebrity does a movie and it sucks and the album sucks. And like, look, we're sorry that sucked. So we'll do better next time. I'm like, oh, you don't have to apologize, but that's nice, right? Or when you go to a, like how many times you guys seen this? Your team sucks. It stinks. They're horrible. Arizona Cardinals right now. Like they owe an apology to a lot of people who've paid good money to go watch them, and they've really not done well. There's an apology there. I can understand that. We apologize to the fans tonight because they paid good money to come here, and we let them down because we were awful. Right? Okay. I maybe understand that. But when somebody comes out and apologizes, I'm like, to who? Is there somebody in particular? Valerie Jarrett and Roseanne? I get that. But that was to her. It's not like everybody else is like, oh, good, we got our apology. Right, Valerie, we good? Because if you're not good, then we're not good. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Sleeping is wunderbar. I like to do it. And one of the things I like to do when I go to sleep is know when I wake up in the morning, I'm not going to be in a lot of pain. And I'll be in a hotel tonight. And I can tell you this. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I am not going to be feeling great as far as my body goes because my back's going to hurt, my legs are going to hurt because I don't have my Casper mattress. And Casper's, this to me is the thing I love about them. First of all, I sleep so much cooler. Tonight, the one thing is you go to a hotel, you just turn it down to like 20 degrees in there. But the reality is I'm still not going to sleep great. My back is going to hurt and my legs are going to hurt because all the years I've played sports, all the things that I've done, guess what? My Casper takes a lot of that pain away. It's tremendous. It is incredible. Here's the other thing. 100 nights. Risk-free, try it in your own home. If you don't like it, if it doesn't meet the test that you're putting out there, they'll take it back, no questions asked. It's going to come in a box where you're going to go, huh, there's a mattress in here? But it's incredible. It really is. And this is what they're doing for you right now. Once you go to Casper.com, when you do, use code CHAD, C-H-A-D. When you purchase a mattress, they're going to throw $50 off that right there. Boom, right off that. All right, so check it out for yourself. Casper.com, code CHAD. Casper.com, code CHAD. You're going to get $50 off selected mattresses. Casper.com, terms and conditions apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, CHADBENSON. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
So, to go along with that Megyn Kelly story, apparently they're in the negotiation to separate. But one of the things she said before she meets with them, she wants Ronan Farrow in the room. And NBC has a very not so good relationship right now with Ronan Farrow because of what took place with Matt Lauer and a bunch of other things. So I like how she wants him there. And who knows? Remember, as you know, they're all journalists, so they all kind of know stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays itself out. But I love some of the comments. To me, and it doesn't matter what it is, you go online and you ask anybody, you read an article. The article is a quarter of the story because if you go below and there's lots of comments, see the insanity of the comments. And seeing some of the insanity on Twitter of the comments to her about how she should have to go over to one person said has to go over every day and interview a black celebrity in their house. Is there any way we can take away that money and she should be forced to give it to other people? This is the way people
opioid
think.
Addiction has.
That's insane. I don't even get it. I can't. I just, again, go look at the comments. To me, the comments are as entertaining as anything else. Speaking of entertaining, if you didn't win the giant lottery the other day, but you still have a few bucks around. I have a piece of property that I think you're going to love.
It's a French neoclassical mansion known as Chartwell, and it's up for sale for $245 million. The home is in Bel Air and was owned by the man who ran Univision. He died in 2017. The home is most well known for appearing in the credits of the Beverly Hillbillies. It's 25,000 square feet, 10 acres of land. It has a tennis court and covered parking for 40 cars. At $245 million, it's the most expensive home for sale in the U.S. right now, but one of 8 homes up for sale for $100 million or more around L.A. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Yeah, so that's big dollars right there. Now, I'm looking at the house. It's nice. I don't know, though. It is where it is, though. Like, you look at it, and you're getting 10 acres in California, in prime real estate in Bel Air. That alone is something. But it's only 25,000 square feet. It came up last year at $350 million, but because there was some other homes around there, they've dropped the price tremendously. There is another home out there that is 105,000 square feet. It is a mega mansion. Now, get ready for this. It was built on spec, means somebody bought the property and they built the property to sell the property, not to live in the property. It's not on the market yet, but the rumor is they're going to ask $500 million for that home. That's a bit much. That's pricey for me. You know what I see when I see this? Just a long way for me to get into my front door. That's what I see. Chad, you wouldn't want that? I don't know. I mean, it looks, I don't see the $245 million here. That's what I don't see. I don't. I think I would expect more for my $245 million. And it's only 25,000 square feet. And here's the thing. You buy it, then you're going to go in and you're going to add all kinds of crap to it. So really, you're looking at $300 million. Nah, I'll pass. Thanks, though, for thinking of me. I appreciate that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody said, Chad, you know what? I want an apology. I want Disney to apologize for making Star Wars such a mess. I get it. That's fine. That's a fine apology. I'm not apologizing for nothing. Slow down, Mickey. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I want to begin tonight's rally by addressing the suspicious devices and packages. Any acts or threats of political violence are an attack on our democracy itself. No nation can succeed that tolerates violence
horrible at reading.
Or the threat of violence as a method of political intimidation, coercion, or control. We all know that. Such conduct must be fiercely opposed and firmly prosecuted. We want all sides to come together in peace and harmony. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. It'll happen.
It probably won't happen. Not anytime soon. Right? Not anytime soon. Do I think the possibility of us is coming together is going to happen? I absolutely do. I'll tell you why. We're the alt-middle, where we're the logical left and the reasonable right get together. We come together, and you know what we do? We talk. We talk. And let me tell you something else we do. We hold our hand up and say, you know what? We've got personal responsibility over here. What I've heard over the last 40 hours after this stuff has happened, but I've been hearing it for a long time, is everybody blames everybody else for everything, and nobody wants to stand up and go, you know what, I've been a part of some of that stuff, and I'll take some of the responsibility for the actions that I've committed, the things that I have said, whatever it is. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody does. I said Trump blames the media. The media blames Trump. Trump blames the left. The left blames Trump. There's plenty of blame to go around, guys. Plenty of blame. We got it. So much blame. It is never-ending blame. And everybody's scooping it up. You know what we got over here, though? Woo! Responsibility. Personal responsibility. You know what it reminds me of? Everybody goes and nobody touches any of the vegetables, but everybody wants the dessert. And that's what I feel a lot of this is like.
I've never been personally critical of him, but yeah, he does bear responsibility for the divisions. He has the biggest megaphones. But I think when we see Hillary Clinton say that when she said, when they go low, we need to go low, or Eric Holder, when you go low, we need to go low, everybody needs to knock it off. But obviously the guy with the biggest megaphone is the one that really has to be careful. I'm told that at his rally tonight, he offered some conciliatory words. I'm pleased to see that. I think it's important.
Yeah, and I found it to be because the fact is this is what Trump does, and it drives me crazy, and it drives a lot of you crazy because I hear from you, is some nights you just have to go, you know what, I'm going to go out and say we don't need any of this crap, and we go from there. We don't need a night where we talk about screaming lock her up or we blaming other people. That's part of the problem. That's absolutely part of the problem, is that we get into this point where we decide, hey, you know what? It's all your fault. Let me tell you all the reasons why it's your fault. You're the media. You're the president. You're a Democrat. You're a Republican. You're a conservative. You're a progressive. These are why all of these things are your fault. I, on the other hand, am above reproach. I am sin-free. Morally, I have high ground, and I'm able to say or do anything I want because I feel morally superior to you, so I cannot shoulder any of this blame because there is no blame for me because I am scot-free in any of this. And that's the way everybody looks at each other. That's the way they look at each other. And you're absolutely wrong. You are. And it doesn't, like, this is the perfect example. So you've got all this going on, right? Like, so the media comes out and they say it's all Trump's fault, it's all Trump's fault, it's all Trump's fault, it's all Trump's fault, it's all Trump's fault. Then Trump comes out and says it's the media's fault, it's the media's fault, it's the left's fault. Everybody's got blame to go around, but nobody wants to take any real personal responsibility.
I'm in a restaurant, someone doesn't like me, Don Lemon, you know, whatever, fake news, you can call me whatever you want. No harm, no foul. But someone delivering a bomb to your place of business that can potentially kill you and your coworkers, that's a horse of another color. And the two should not be equated.
Why do they have to bring race into this?
I'm glad that you said that about
animals.
They're not journalists. Because what they're doing is they're doing the bidding for this president who cannot own his own terrible, awful, damaging rhetoric.
He had that opportunity.
He blamed the victim tonight.
Yeah.
For him to sit there and blame us, we're the victims here.
And only us.
Is disgusting.
Now, I'd like to get a ruling on this. Producer Phil, do you find them calling themselves victims absolutely crap?
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, all right. They blame the victim. They victim blamed. Here, Don, let me tell you what you've done over the last 3 years. Everybody who's voted for Trump is a racist. Everybody who's voted for Trump. That's what people hear on the right, is that all that you do is say how horrible they are, how they're ignorant, how they're stupid, how they're white supremacist, how they've ruined everything, how they were fooled by the Russians, how they're troglodytes, how they're mouth breeders and knuckle draggers, and they're just idiots. Oh, wait, yeah. There's enough blame to go around. Who would have thought a Republican from Louisiana, John Kennedy, comes on out and says some stuff today where you're like, I think this guy needs his own damn show. He is hilarious.
You may not end up agreeing with your critics, but you ought to at least listen. And we can ride the anger. We can continue to be tribal, or we can solve the problem.
What? Solve the problem? Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to do that?
And the people on the left and the right, they share that anger. They just are angry at different people. They're angry at the political and the economic establishment. We have let them down. We can do better. But we're not going to do it by using hot political rhetoric that encourages people to hate each other. And all I'm saying is that there are plenty of folks on both sides that have done it, and they're all guilty. We're all responsible.
He said we're all responsible. Yeah, everybody is. And I'm going to say something else right now. Hate's a big business. It's a huge business. Massive business. Racism and race, big business. Get that in there with hate. Whoa, it's a big. Ask the Southern Poverty Law Center if race and hate is a big business. Huge business. Huge business. Massive business. Don't want hate to go away. Nobody wants to fix all of these problems, right? They just want to make it so it's uncomfortable. People talk about it, but don't really want it to go away. Hate's a big business. It is. And there's plenty of blame and there's plenty of responsibility to go around. So spread it out amongst yourselves. I've been guilty before, as have a lot of other people. I have. Who hasn't? Anybody? Is everybody just scot-free in this? It's a bunch of crap. It really is. I like it. I like it. I like him coming out and saying, yeah, you know what? I'll take some responsibility of that. I'll take some responsibility in my part because everybody does it. And the thing is, and this is the other thing, and the Don Lemons of the world, and at times I don't think Trump and other people, there are people out there. There's a group in society on both sides of the aisle, and they're the far fringes. And if you look, only 6% identify themselves or can be identified as the alt-right, and I think it's 8% of the far progressive crazy left. So you've got two fringe crazies. So that's 14%. Pretty much everybody else is in this kind of middle area, and we're looking around going, well, what the hell's going on here? Why are they the ones getting why are they getting all the grease? Because they're the squeaky wheel. And the other thing is just because people are afraid of them. And it drives me crazy. I think it drives you crazy too. And I sit here and I go, wow, this is where we're at. Where we're allowing that flea to wag the tail, to wag the dog, which drives so many people up the wall because this small little itty bitty fringe element inside of these parties have gotten to the point where they scare even some of their own politicians. I've talked to a few of them. Just like CEO, they're scared of the mob on Twitter and everywhere else that could potentially come after them. And so, they don't know what to do at times. They don't. Oh, it's crazy. Plenty to go around. Plenty to go around. A lot of us have played our parts. We have. But the thing is what not a lot of people get, at least in the media, is there are people out there, for lack of a better term, not the sharpest tools in the shed. And while you're doing your Shakespearean we hate each other fight, they take it to heart and they think it's real and serious. And they're not in on the joke. You can't plan for stupid, but you should. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Speaking of stupid, you don't have a MyPillow. You're stupid, Chad. No, I'm serious. You like to sleep? I like to sleep. And I like to sleep. Last night I went home because I've been traveling. I went to bed late because I had a bunch of stuff to do. We're doing all kinds of stuff. And so I didn't go to bed till like 11:15. And I got 5 hours and 10 minutes of absolute knockout sleep. Woke up fresh, ready to go. Boom. MyPillow does that for me. And it's crazy. I don't even move. It's incredible. It is so incredible. So here's what MyPillow's doing. First and foremost, so easy to maintain, right? Like they're washable, 100% machine, washable and dryable. It's the cotton they have there. Boom. 10-year warranty, made right here in the ES of A. But they're doing a BOGO. You buy one, you get one free. So You go and you say, hey, I'd like one of those MyPillows. How do I get one, Chad? Well, I'll tell you here in a second. But just know you're going to get a premium pillow, and they're going to say, hey, you know what? Here's another one free. And you're like, oh, wow, 2 of those? Yeah, 2 of those. Perfect gift for Christmas, by the way. So call 800-983-4975, 800-983-4975, or go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. And the great thing is when you get your MyPillow for Christmas, you give one for Christmas, and essentially you're getting a present for you, and you're giving one to somebody else. 800-983-4975, MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. It's too early to talk about Christmas. It's never too early to talk about Christmas. In fact, just to let you guys know, today's October 25th. We're 2 months away. What? It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Under our new proposed payment system, doctors will be paid a flat rate. And when you think of it, it's like being a contractor or anything else. If it's an expensive drug or a less expensive drug, it's the same.
There you go. Trump today pushing hard for prescriptions he's going to change it. So his whole thing is he wants to change the way prescription drugs are done. And when I when I talk to people about why is it so expensive here and cheaper elsewhere, one of the things that never gets talked about in a real way is how the rest of the world loves our drugs and likes the fact that essentially they don't have to come up with them.
We're taking aim at the global freeloading that forces American consumers to subsidize lower prices in foreign countries through higher prices in our country.
Yeah. There's a reason for a lot of the things that the countries are able to do is the pharmaceutical companies are over here. We have the best technology, the best engineers, all of those things, and the best research. They go about doing their stuff. And when there's a breakthrough, the Europeans and many others get to enjoy all of that while we pay higher cost. Isn't that weird? Like, that's crazy. But that's the reality of it. And it's one of the reasons that a lot of places are able to do things in a much cheaper way is because the system, in a lot of ways, is rigged against us by the very same people who say, we want to fix it, but we rigged it against you.
The world reaps the benefits of American genius and innovation while American citizens, and especially our great seniors, who are hit the hardest, pick up the tab, but no longer.
These are the things that with the shouting, and rightly so, the whole bomb thing is something we should pay attention to. But these are the things right here that really do matter for us. The high cost of health care is sitting at the top of what is going on in people's mind as we approach this vital midterm. It's not the most election of all time. I think every election, the next one is always most. But the reality of what I hear people talking about is not the cost, is not about dealing with these kind of things. And I like the fact that he takes it on. He'll never get any kind of real credit for it. Yesterday, the opioid thing, he went after the opioids and he came hard at that. They signed a brand new prevention and treatment bill that it was a bipartisan bill. It was absolutely massively bipartisan. I was like, wow. Because they realized there's a problem here. But it was overshadowed because of the bombs and because of a few other things and the fighting amongst each other and because it's not sexy. It's not. This right here, this is something that I think needs to be taken on. I do. And I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. Remember, as I've been talking about all day, and I'll continue to say, most people on both sides of the aisle, they want to go to the same place. Their path to get there, they differ on. And that's the thing that we need to figure out is like, how do we get into that path where we're kind of in somewhat of the same lane moving in that direction? It's not going to be perfect, but it's better than just both sitting there idling. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Speaking of the other side of the aisle, for a lot of you out there, this guy is GREGG HURWITZ. His name. He's going to join us next. He's an author. Yeah, big time. Orphan X and comic books like Batman, The Dark Knight, things like that. But he's trying to fix the Democrats. And he's interesting. He's engaging. He's got some good ideas. And he sees a lot of the world the way that a lot of other people do. But just because there's a D by his name, people don't pay attention on the other side. Well, guess what, kids? He's a good dude. And we're going to talk about stuff. And here's a guy that's on the left that's willing to come on. And I love that. He's Straight Ahead, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You know, I saw this guy. I've been reading a lot of stuff about this guy, and I said, I got to get this guy on because he's going to save the Democrat Party. At least that's what he's, everybody is joking about saying. And I like what he's doing out there. And I know in a world of politics and on talk radio, oh my God, somebody's talking about Democrats in a good way. This guy is, because he's bringing up real things. He's an author of some good stuff, Orphan X and a few other things, comic books out there. But I want to talk today about politics. GREGG HURWITZ joins us now. And Greg, I appreciate you coming on. And first and foremost, when I saw you on with Ruben and I saw you and I've read a bunch of your stuff, I love what you're talking about because you're talking about real Democrats that are out there that aren't the Ocasio-Cortezes, which gets all of the press for whatever reason, I don't know.
You're 100% right. I mean, and it's sort of a challenge that I pose to, and I'm not just talking about Fox and Sinclair. I'm talking about MSNBC and CNN, is we have this sort of clickbait mentality, and everybody knows that what they can draw the most attention with is illustrating and amplifying the most extreme versions of both parties. And so if you go back, if you look at even, conventionally left-leaning publications and count the number of times they've written articles on Cortez versus Lieutenant Ken Harbaugh or, Angie Craig or Haley Stevens. There's a host of amazing candidates out there, and all that anyone's looking at is the most extreme aspects of both of our parties in a sort of, unconscious or informal bid to just whip us up and get us to click these things and polarize further. And I've had enough of it.
It's crazy, the intellectual dark web, the Jordan Petersons, all of these things out there. We call ourselves here the alt middle because I think every time an election cycle rolls around, you shouldn't be attached to a party. They should want to try to get your vote. The frustration I find is, and right now you're getting it, I'm getting it. Everywhere you go, the negative ads drive me crazy. Not one person has sold me on why their idea is better. All they're trying to do is say they just suck a little bit less than the person that you could vote for.
Vote for us. We're less corrupt.
How did we get to this point?
Well, it's tricky. During one of, I think right around Clinton's midterm elections, one of the things that we saw was there was a ton of money that started to get dumped into politics in a way that was unprecedented from donors. And both parties have wound up kind of competing to that. And what's gotten left behind is what we used to have to do, which is court the voters who, I'll talk from the Democratic side, who we used to court and protect their interests, white working class people, African-American community, and pretty much we all started tilting towards bigger donors. My estimation that there are differences. I'm not implying both parties are absolutely identical in this, but I do feel like there's a whole swath of working people who are massively overlooked, and as both parties have kind of rolled forward, no one has taken care of them the way that they should. And the working class people of this country, have shouldered the weight of basically enriching the rest of the world, even through free trade. And we've not taken proper care or notice or seen and heard them. And I think a lot of people did not feel seen and heard or represented by the candidates in the last election. When you say alt middle, I think that's a fantastic term because there's so many people who are much more reasonable, but if they're looking, all they're seeing are these amplified messages from either extreme, and they're not feeling like they're represented in either the level of civility or the kind of discourse that's happening or even the views, or even, frankly, if somebody else has an opposing view than you don't get to look into their hearts and make a moral judgment about the type of human they are. You should just disagree.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, as we talked to GREGG HURWITZ here, he's a screenwriter, the author for the Orphan X series and several comic books you would probably be familiar with. But he's out there helping the Democrats, and you're out there helping Democrats who are in races in places like Texas, where you talked about a guy that is, you know, what is he, an Army Ranger? Yep. Here's a guy who he's built up a business. He was everything that you would look when you look at a Democrat. You go like, that to me is what I look at when I look at a Democrat. That's a Democratic Party I used to recognize. Just like on the right, there's some people out there that I recognize that used to be the Republican Party. The extremes have the bully pulpit, and the problem is we've now gotten to the point, Greg, where we no longer look at the other side as somebody I disagree with on political things. We now just look at you across the board as you're evil and you're the enemy.
Absolutely. And the gentleman who you bring up is a great example to talk about this. His name's Joseph Kopser. He's running in Texas. 20 years in the Army. He was a Ranger. He then went to the Kennedy School at Harvard, got a degree in international relations, was a professor at West Point. I mean, really impressive guy. And one of the things that he did after that is he went and created a clean energy company, which was a huge success. He now employs hundreds and hundreds of people in Texas. A really successful entrepreneur. He understands small business. And for instance, when he talks about healthcare, he doesn't talk about it in a way that's shaming people who don't have the same view of him, who you know, it's not from this perspective of, here's this sick child and how dare you not care about them. Because I think people who are conservative, it's not that they lack empathy for people. They're just trying to figure out a system that makes sense for them and feels sustainable economically. And what's so great with Kopser's view is he's like, look, after 20 years in the Army, I had baseline health insurance for myself, and that gave me the freedom to go take a leap and to build this business, which now created hundreds and hundreds of jobs and is helping to drive the economy. And it's a different perspective on it of trying to look at the robustness of the whole community and ways that we can have conversations about things like healthcare and look to different types of advantages.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's like when I talk to my friends who are like, they're climate change. I said, you know, you guys all approach this wrong. You come at Republicans and you call them deniers or anybody who doesn't agree with you, because the reality is, while science is out there, then you can find opposing science. And the fact that some of the numbers have been, jigged up a little bit, people get frustrated and think it's a bunch of baloney. If you come at it from hey, you know what, whether you believe in this science or that science, the reality is we've got to take better care of the planet. Plus, there is some money to be made here. So there's a capitalism as a part of it. Why not become part of a solution here? We don't do that anymore. We can't have a conversation. Same thing goes with healthcare. I want to find a way to I would love to see everybody get healthcare. Can we use a combination of both? What are the trade-offs? As Thomas Sowell would say, it's about trade-offs. What trade-offs can we have? Because at this point, I look at the Republicans and Democrats, they'd rather have 100% of nothing than 50% of something.
Look, you're preaching to the choir on this. I mean, especially with the environment. I think the other thing that happens, just to talk psychologically for a moment, people have an understandably defensive reaction when they are told that they are bad. Not that it's their views, but when you switch it over to that. And there's an underlying sort of negativity in environmental messaging. And here I'm not being party specific. I'm just saying when we talk about the environment, we tend to come from this sort of Rousseauian ideal that man is bad and nature is all good. And some people are like, wait a minute, if a beaver can build a dam, like, why can't we build apartment complexes? Like, what is this thing that everything that man does is bad and is evil? And there's this undercurrent to it that people understandably, some people have a defensive reaction to. And I think there's a really positive way for us to look at this and go, look, we put a man on the moon. Right? We obliterated polio from the face of the planet. We got rid of the ozone hole, and not a single business went out of business because we got rid of certain types of aerosols. Like, this is something we know how to do. We know how to be respectful of the environment. We know how to not, regulate businesses to the point that they're choked off and die. And we also know how to solve problems around the planet. So let's actually talk about that instead of just hurling recriminations at each other and telling people that man is bad and anyone who opposes this is in denial. There's ways to have steps towards solutions. And look, I will say with the intellectual dark web, I've overlapped with Jordan a ton. He was my thesis advisor as an undergrad. We go back forever. But, one of the things that we bat around a little bit, I had a really helpful conversation with Ben Shapiro, who I would say is as opposed to me on most issues, and basically I was looking at a certain proposal and just called him up and was like, hey, what do you hate about this? Like, tell me all the issues that you have with it. We had a super civil, reasonable conversation. I came out of it not having massively changed my mind on it, but understanding the weaknesses. And I made a tweak to a policy proposal in keeping with some of the concerns that he raised. So it's not like it's something where it caused me to go, I completely believe now. Like, let's get rid of, the smaller the government, the better. The best form of government is when you can drown in a bathtub. It wasn't like it was some huge reversal. But what was helpful is there was a libertarian sort of concern that I was aware of, but that he really reinforced vehemently, that had me come back and make a couple small adjustments to the things that I was proposing that respect that. And I think we tend to undervalue incremental change. We tend to undervalue coming up with solutions. And one of the things I always say is there's a lot of really smart conservatives out there. I'd love to have us all I would love to have us all actually working on solutions to make use of all these brains to say, hey, here's what I think is really important for a baseline of healthcare in this country. And for them to say, here's all the problems with it. And for us to say, how do we solve that? How do we get here? How do we get here without causing damage to small businesses? And to really sit down and be able to utilize brains in a brainstorming way from all sides of the table, that's really what the intellectual dark web's about.
Absolutely. Talking to GREGG HURWITZ, who's, of course, the author of The Orphan X and many comic books that you guys might recognize out there. But we're talking about him saving the Democrats and just having cordial conversations. And, again, it's the trade-off. I was joking with my friend last night. I said, if the Republicans and Democrats each won the lottery the other night because the other side would be getting some of it, neither of them would want it. And it's this zero-sum game. And the fact is, it has to be trade-offs. We can find a way, both capitalistically, to help healthcare and to get to do things. And maybe if there's some government intervention or government's brought in some way, shape, or form, that we can figure out a way to protect children, adults, people who are vulnerable, we can do that. The problem is both sides want it their way or no way. And that, to me, is ridiculous. I'd rather have 70% of something, Greg, than 100% of nothing. Why is it that we have gotten to this point here? Is it only big money and the donors that are out there? Or is there other things that people are afraid of because this 6% on either side, these bully pulpit screaming, social justice warrior lunatics have been able to in many ways hijack part of the party, and a lot of, I think, politicians are afraid of them.
Yeah, I think that's not inaccurate. I would say that one of the other problems that we have that we don't always look at as clearly as this is, I think social media plays a big part of it. And I think whatever side of the equation that you're on, what we've gotten is a virtual arena where people spend more time socializing than in the real world. And they can unlike anyone who disagrees with them. And they're creating a bubble of people who largely agree with what they think. And basically what it becomes is sort of the virtue signaling Olympics. Right? Like, the more vehemently you can be opposed to something that is racist, the more vehemently you can own leftists, the more clicks you get, the more benefit that you get, the more followers that you get, and it's reinforced constantly in a direction that's propelling us to opposite sides. So one thing that's really important to me is I follow a ton of people across the spectrum. There was a big issue in Hollywood here because somebody said that we should follow Ben Shapiro to see what he thinks. And a bunch of people from the left kind of blew up over it. It's like, how would you not? Like, how do you not want to follow people who you disagree with and know what they're up to? And, a lot of my friends really span the gamut. I have a lot of friends who are conservatives. I have a lot of friends who are Wall Street Republicans. I have some friends who are kind of, MAGA Trump voters, a lot of libertarians. And when you do that, what you start to get, which is to advantage both strategically, I think, and morally, is you start to get an ear for all the things that really turn people off. Like, what are the buzzwords that make people shut off and retreat into their in-group favoritism, let's call it. And we want to know how to avoid that, not just to make effective messaging and not just to win, but we want to also understand that so we can figure out how to talk to each other better. And people aren't doing that. You know, people, you go on social media and you look at what's happening, and people are really competing and doing they're doing dog tricks for their followers, and the more that you are polarizing, the more benefit and applause you get, and people start to compete for that. And that's not what we want to do as a country. I don't
No. But that's why we have conversations like this where, you know, you and I probably agree on a lot of stuff. We may disagree on other things. But the reality is if we were to try to do something, we would try to find a solution and a trade-off to get something done because we actually care rather than a lot of other people that care about their donors or their followers or whatever. And, man, I appreciate you having you on. I can't wait to talk about the book, and we'll do that at a later date because we know we got stuff coming. I'm very excited about this. He's the author of the Orphan X series. He's a screenwriter. GREGG HURWITZ, appreciate you coming on. And I think we would need two parties that are healthy, and I think right now both of them are a little sick.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, my friend.
All right, my man. Thanks so much. You have yourself a good day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Follow him. He's an interesting guy. And this is one of those things. I reached out because I wanted to have somebody who is out there. He's trying to save the Democrat Party, and he's doing it in a way where he's looking at Democrats that are Democrats that we would think about. The kind of Reagan Democrats, but they were Democrats hardcore, the people that are willing to look at other sides, the people that are, for all intents and purposes, I'll say it, they're in the center of the country. They're in those flyover states, right? They're not in New York and Manhattan and Silicon Valley and Los Angeles. And I think I think what he's doing is great. And I think we need more of that across the board. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
While pointless pundits ponder what was, Chad wisely wonders, what's next?
So, Megyn Kelly apparently split with her agent as well today because they also represent NBC. It's a very weird business. That shows you that things are going to go south and they're going to split up after the whole blackface comment. Man. It's got to be to all those people, those social justice warriors, and those people out there. I wonder, like what kind of cross do you get? A cross that how do you carry it for the burdens that you take upon the world? Do you put it on your back? Do you drag it? Do you have one of those like little things where you wheel it along? I don't know. It's crazy. It is. It is crazy. Suspicious package at the shops at Time Warner Center and CNN, where they're located right there. Another package, apparently they're responding to it. And this just may be a package that like, oh, sorry, I forgot about that. So, but you got to take, at this point in time, you have to look at everything. And so CNN may just have to do their show from now on outdoors. Chad, you're such a jerk, Chad. Why are you such a jerk to people? I can't help it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I loved having Greg on, and many of you guys are tweeting in saying that was interesting. It is good. And this is what I talk about. The conversations that we can have, that I love to have with people, because I want to actually get places, right? Like and it's the thing I'm talking about. The more I think about it, the more I realize that if both the right and the left had to split the lottery, that thing would eventually expire and it would go back into the kitty because neither of them would want to share. They don't want to share their success. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is their Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Check out Chad Benson Show TV. That's on the old YouTube at Chad Benson Show, not only on Twitter, but also on Instagram. And you can get bikini shots there. Not mine, just on Instagram in general. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I've never been personally critical of him, but yeah, he does bear responsibility for the divisions. He has the biggest megaphones. But I think when we see Hillary Clinton say that when she said, when they go low, we need to go low, or Eric Holder, when you go low, we need to go low, everybody needs to knock it off. But obviously the guy with the biggest megaphone is the one that really has to be careful. I'm told that at his rally tonight, he offered some conciliatory words. I'm pleased to see that. I think it's important.
That's the guy I voted for, John Kasich. I like what he had to say there. Polarized much? Yes, we are. Here's the beauty of blame. There's plenty of it to go around, right? That's the beauty of blame. And here's also the beauty of a thing called responsibility. There's plenty of that to go around too, right? We all blame everybody else. It's the media's fault. It's Trump's fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's Maxine Waters' fault. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's blah, blah, blah. There's plenty of that blame to go around. And here's the beauty of responsibility. We can all stand up and say, you know what? I've been heated at times. I've said some things that I wish I could take back as far as in the heat of the moment. We all have some personal responsibility. The beauty of blame is there's plenty. The beauty of responsibility is plenty. How much? Infinity, and beyond. That's how much there is. That's how much there is to go around. Last night, Trump did speak. He opened up and talked a bit about this, and again, blame to go around. I blame Trump. I blame the media. I blame the Hillarys of the world. There's a lot of people out there. The blame game is big. And I look, and there's an endless bucket of blame. It's full all the time. Responsibility bucket is also full all the time.
I want to begin tonight's rally by addressing the suspicious devices and packages. Any acts or threats of political violence are an attack on our democracy itself. No nation can succeed that tolerates violence or the threat of violence as a method of political intimidation, coercion, or control. We all know that. Such conduct must be fiercely opposed and firmly prosecuted. We want all sides to come together in peace and harmony. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it.
Yeah, I think we can. But there's nothing in it, right? There's no sound bites. There's none of that stuff. These bombs, these packages that are going out to numerous people in the Democratic Party or people that have been, you can look and essentially say they're all enemies of Trump. That's the way some people are saying it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And while they blame Trump for everything, you listen to the way they talk about Trump as if they're blameless in any of this, the media.
We are living in an atmosphere where hate and violence have been incited, condoned by Donald Trump.
We are in an era now where violence seems to have license by the President of the United States.
Fox News hasn't gotten a bomb yet.
And there is no human being more responsible for the climate we're in than Donald Trump. Today is
calling us the enemy of the American people, for example. Fake news has that stoked these violent tendencies, at least in some people.
Let's remember, we have a president who has talked for a couple of years now about imprisoning his political rival in Hillary Clinton, who has encouraged violence against the media.
It's hard to see this outside of the context of the president's hostility towards Mrs. Clinton, who tried to briefly speak towards unity, towards Barack Obama, towards George Soros.
And she's also come out and said things like, let's be uncivil, right? Remember that. Let's remember that. Everybody, everybody has some responsibility here. Everybody has some blame here. We can blame ourselves, and we can also take responsibility for our actions. We can. We live in a very tribal world. And as we start to break it down, I keep saying, we're the alt-middle. I want the logical left. I want the reasonable right. I want us to come together to find what our trade-offs are going to be, to find solutions to problems. They're not going to be perfect solutions, because nothing is, because human beings are involved. But we've got to start doing this. We have to start treating ourselves as human beings again. And I think that's what we've stopped doing. We stopped treating each other as human beings. We see each other as enemy more than anything else. We do. And it's very, 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 very sad. It really, really is. This is the world we find ourselves in at this moment in time. And the people that are the loudest right now are the Trumps, portions of the media, the social webs and insanity that's out there. The fringes of society stoke this. I talked about it over and over again. I know this for a fact. There are politicians out there who are afraid of their own followers in the social media world because they're afraid that they're going to veer from the course and that they're going to get taken down. It's the flea that wagged the tail that wagged the dog, right? That's what we've got going on right now. And we have to take a step back. And I look at all of you guys out there. I talk to a ton of you throughout the day. In my line of work, I'm so fortunate. I get to talk to so many people. I've got friends on the right. I've got friends on the left. I've got friends who are completely non-political and could care less about any of this stuff. I've got people of all makes and sizes and all of these things. And it isn't until we stand up and we start saying, okay, we've had enough of this. This isn't getting us anywhere. And we've got, and this is one thing, and I've said this to my friends on the left. You need to clean up your house, and the people on the right, you need to clean up your house. You need to start policing your people. You need to start saying enough is enough. You need to start saying, okay, this is ridiculous. People on the right, same damn thing, right? Because what we're doing right now is we're trying to police each other in an area where we're not going to have any opportunity to really do anything other than just piss the other side off.
You may not end up agreeing with your critics, but you ought to at least listen. And we can ride the anger. We can continue to be tribal, or we can solve the problem.
Yeah. I love that guy. That's John Kennedy. Not that John Kennedy. You can tell by his accent. A little different than Harvard. He's Republican, Louisiana. And it is, he's so right on there. Look, we're going to be tribal by nature. As human beings, we're going to be tribal. But until we start looking over at the other tribes, if you will, and saying, well, they're human beings too, and they're citizens, and they're Americans, and they've got arms and legs, and they talk and they walk, and they're in wheelchairs, and they're black and they're white and they're gay and they're straight and they're all that, but they're human beings. And until we start doing that, it's not going to get it, because all we do is we look over and we see a red or a blue, and we're like, and that's not good. That's not good at all.
And the people on the left and the right, they share that anger. They just are angry at different people. They're angry at the political and the economic establishment. We have let them down. We can do better. But we're not going to do it by using hot political rhetoric that encourages people to hate each other. And all I'm saying is that there are plenty of folks on both sides that have done it. And they're all guilty. We're all responsible.
We're all responsible. Absolutely. Again, plenty of responsibility to go around. And you can be responsible as well. You can take personal responsibility. I just checked. Apparently, we have an abundance of personal responsibility waiting for people to pick it up. It's free. It doesn't cost you a penny. What are you doing? I'm picking up my personal responsibility. I got to start taking some. And I'm also going to pick up some of this blame because I'm to blame for some of this stuff. Yeah. I am. All right. It's the first step, right? Like, that's the first step. But until we start having real conversations, it isn't going to help us at all. Both sides. But I will tell you this. Hate's a big industry. It's a big industry. A lot of money to be made in hate. A lot of money to be made in hate. So, how do you combat it? That's the big thing. Because hate has become an industry. I hate you in the way you think. You hate me in the way I think. Well, guess what? I'm going to rally my troops, and I'm going to grow, and people are going to listen to me, and I'm going to make money off of it, and I'm going to make everything a controversy, and everywhere I go, I'm going to see bad things, and thank you for that because you've made me money. And the other side's like, well, you know what? I'm going to rally my troops, and I'm going to grow it bigger, and I'm going to do the exact same thing you're going to do, and they're going to find hate in everything you do and how evil you are, and we're going to have some money along with it. And next thing you know, hate's a big industry. It's a big industry. That's why the alt-middle, which is us, right? The exhausted majority is another great thing I've heard, which is us, needs to stand up and say, you know what is a bigger industry? Us. We've got more power. We can be louder. You know, at some point in time, if you watch a Godzilla movie, Godzilla finally gets bored with the other monsters and just kills them. I'm not saying we kill them, but I'm saying at some point in time, we need to be a little Godzilla-ish and maybe just put our foot down and say, we've had enough. Right? We've had enough. There's a reason called Godzilla King of the Monsters. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Love when you guys text. I get hate all the time, too. And it's funny because a lot of times people will send me something, and the first thing that they tweet at me, the first thing that they say to me is something completely awful. And I just laugh. And I'll say thank you, or okay, or I'll ignore it. And then sometimes they'll write back, and then I'll say, you know, I just don't want to engage, and somebody's going to act like that. And next thing you know, 5, 6 text messages later, like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have come at you like that. The emotion of it all. Again, hate's a big industry. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Because just like there's personal responsibility and just like there is blame, there's also an unlimited amount of hate to go around. AMAC. Love it. They are not full of hate. They're amazing. More and more of you are finding out. If you're over the age of 50, look, both sides need to be represented, right? ARP goes out there and represents a lot of things on the left side of the aisle that you don't agree with, but you feel like you've got nowhere to go. Well, you do. It's called AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens. They fight for things like middle-class tax cuts. They fight for better than Obamacare, getting rid of it and replacing it with something better. They're the voice in the room that you can't be. And in this day and age, we all need a voice. So how do you join? Simple. They don't even want your credit card. They just want you to join for free. Simple and easy. Go to amac.us/Chad. You're going to get a year membership for free. They're going to be the voice in a world where you feel like you have no voice and it's frustrating. They're going to go out there and they're going to stand up for your individual rights. They're going to want and try to help these politicians see that it's about common sense immigration reform, supporting small businesses, things of that nature. That's what AMAC does. And on top of that, the benefits, well, so many benefits. 40% off movie tickets, up to 40% off things like, I don't know, Disneyland, Disney World, SeaWorld, Legoland, things of that nature. No, how about retail, restaurant, hotel discounts? Plenty of those for you. Join today, absolutely free, 1-year membership, amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad. AMAC is better for you, better for America. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. For all the rhetoric, for all the craziness, for all the lunacy, something happened yesterday that was bipartisan but ignored. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to the alt-middle, where solutions live and ignorance dies. The Chad Benson Show.
President Trump at the White House signing a rare two-party law which helps recovering drug addicts and prevents dealers from delivering drugs through the mail.
Together we are going to end the scourge of drug addiction in America.
The STOP Act providing billions to state drug addiction recovery centers for research and prevention and making it easier for the Postal Service to stop dealers using the mail.
Well, let's just see if the Postal Service can stop delivering bombs to famous people. But this happened yesterday. This actually happened yesterday. This did. But because of what was going on, and let's be real, bombs are going out to our former presidents, our former first ladies, to CNN, the day before to George Soros, like him or not. These are things that are because of the potential of that. But the reality is, this is huge. But it wasn't talked about because it's not sexy, right? Drug addiction isn't sexy to talk about, but dare I say this? Many of you listening have a family member, or maybe if it's in you, that's had issues with drugs or alcohol. The amount of people that are dying because of opioids in this country is massive. Because there was no fighting, there was no bickering, there was nothing to see here. And we need to figure these kind of things out. These are things that we need to talk about. These are things where we focus on all of the other stuff. And I'm not saying that the bombs and that this thing isn't important to talk about. It's absolutely talk about it. But I'm talking about, what about all of the other things that are out there that the average person who is not somebody who's obsessed with politics, who's not somebody who sits around and watches MSNBC or Fox and reads the New York Times and the National and the Hill all day, what about everybody else who's going about their lives? These things are important.
Our shared work of fighting drug crime has never been more important than now.
Yeah, that's Jeff Sessions, not, man, that's just great. It's me, McGraw the dog. But he's right about that. We need to figure this out. And I think it was great that they came together. I think it was good that they did. And some of the stuff in this bill is very interesting. And one of the big things that, it's trade-offs. Remember, it's not going to make everybody happy. But some of the things that they're talking about is a way that something that I've been screaming about when it comes to opioid addiction is, how do we treat it from jump? Meaning, we need to find new ways to manage pain from the beginning. But because we live in a world of instantaneousness, we just want it. Hey, you know what? I had my teeth pulled, and my whatever it is back here was pulled. My wisdom tooth. It's just easier to go, here's 30 days of these. It also talks about some of the ways they're going to try to limit doctor shopping, things of that nature, and I think that's great. But it was completely overlooked because what happened yesterday with the bombs, or the potential bombs going out to people. And I'll be honest with you, take away even that, it wouldn't have been talked about much because there's just nothing sexy about it. It's real, but it's not sexy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Megyn Kelly gone, the caravan on the way, and the most misspelled words. We got it all, kids. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I think investigators are working on the assumption that more devices will be found, and they are concerned. We've learned now that the package sent to CNN for John Brennan actually did travel through the U.S. mail. And that has law enforcement officials worried because it sent through this vast network undetected. And they don't know how many more might be out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of packages that go through the mail. For all the jokes we make about the United States Postal Service, think about how many packages go through the mail. And now they're saying there's a 10th device found. So it's a horrible situation. And the reality is if you, it's like drugs. I mean, you think that the drugs come over the wall? Some of them do. Majority of them come through the mail. Good majority of these things come through the mail. There's only so much they can do when you think about it. Right? We talk all the time about immigration, right? It's kind of south of the border has been a huge problem. There is a steady flow of people that are coming. We've got a massive caravan coming here right now with some 8,000 to 10,000 people, another caravan or two behind it. There's a problem there. But today there's going to be thousands of people that land here from different parts of the world on a visa. And you know what? They're not going to leave. There are going to be people coming through the ports today. They're not going to leave. It's a massive problem. So why wouldn't you send something through the mail? Chances are nobody's seen them do it. And the odds are pretty good that stuff potentially is going to get through when you think about how many pieces of mail are out there. no matter how hard they check. I mean, look at the TSA. Every year we do a story about the TSA and they go, yeah, they were, only 8% effective in catching stuff. Well, that means 92% of things potentially got through. And think about how many pieces of mail are out there.
Why didn't the mail system catch this? Because that's what they've been concerned about for a long time, is about packages and pipe bombs going through the U.S. Postal Service. And, normally these things are scanned, but somehow some of these got through.
Yeah. And there will be more, I'm sure. And they say that they feel that the person comes from Florida, which is not a shocker. So earlier, it was Debbie Wasserman Schultz, because that one sent to John Brennan. So it's Debbie. She's mad. She's angry. It's not Debbie. It's her hair. She's mad at her hair. But this is a frustrating situation. And then we got to sit around and we discuss these kind of things. People break it down. And here comes an FBI guy. Well, I'm a former FBI guy. Let me tell you what happened. Somebody put together this pipe bomb, and now there's a spoof of ISIS on there. I've seen so much of that today. I don't think it's ISIS that's doing it. I just want to put that out there. I don't think it's ISIS that's doing it. It's just a bad situation, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon. It isn't, as far as the rhetoric and the BS and the baloney, and now it's going to be in the headlines even more, and now you're going to get both sides of the aisle screaming at each other. Neither of them want to take any responsibility, personal responsibility, that maybe they too have ramped up the rhetoric, and instead they just want to say, nope, it's all them. They started it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Ben Sass. And speaking as we head towards midterms, this is very interesting. We talk about fake news and all of these things. This is really interesting, what he's talking about here.
In the intel community, there are people who talk about the perfect storm of deep fakes that we have coming. And the storm is these three ingredients. Number one, new technology makes it possible to sort of narrowcast a world with fake audio and fake video, where lots of people can be susceptible to being spoofed or persuaded that things that aren't real are real. There's always been enemies doing malicious act or, information warfare since the beginning of time. But it used to require a prostitute and a honey trap and a fake business partner and a bribery scheme and a bar.
Yeah, well, we still have those, right? But that's just like somebody's going OG on those kind of things. Like, that's super OG. But the things they can do now are incredible. And it is nuts. And by the way, it can be somebody sitting somewhere in a cave with a satellite link up and the opportunity to connect to the web and have all of the tools in the world they need at their disposal to make something look real. That's the thing.
Now we can use technology to surround someone and give them a fake experience, fake audio and fake video that are going to seem real, are going to make that possible. Number two, Russia is already trying this constantly against us. They're just bad at it. The real reason we need to take the Russia-type investigation so seriously is because China is right behind them, running scout team offense on them and ready to do big deep fakes, hybrid war information operations against American leaders and business officials and the public at large.
Yeah. But also here in America. Because for every one of those people that are trying to do something, you've got 10 people here in America that are doing the same thing for their side. I mean, look at all the PACs, all the dark money that's out there. Look at all the ads that you see day in and day out. You're inundated with stuff and all this dark money paid for by the blah, 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 blah. And that's, for all intents and purposes, that's just a legalized version of trolling people.
We have so many internal divisions about geography, about race, about gender, about guns. There's many, many issues where Americans are so divided that we are susceptible to these kind of campaigns like Russia is already trying to run on social media. They're just not very good at it, where they try to exacerbate and inflame tensions on every side of every issue. The NFL kneeling controversy, majority of the stuff online on social media in the first 72 hours after that flamed, the majority of it on both sides, stand for the anthem and take a knee NFL. Most of it was Russian on both sides.
Yeah, and they don't even like that kind of football. Chad, you're just being funny. It's crazy. It really is. And it's frustrating. And that's why I always tell everybody, like, I'll have people, I don't know how many I get, probably 15 to 20 people who will IM me something they saw today. right? So here's something. Look at this. What do you think of this? And I'll say, look at the source. If you're really serious about it, if you really want information, it's not hard. The beauty of all of these things, these tricksters and the technology is, the other side of it is you can find out how real some of these things are. I mean, we talked yesterday about the whole George Soros thing. I got sent so many of these. This is George Soros in a Nazi uniform. Like, no, it's not. It's not even close. What? People want to buy into it because a lot of times people don't care. They just want affirmation to their belief. So it makes it easy to spread these things when nobody really cares if the story's true as long as it backs up their belief system. And that's scarier to me in a lot of ways.
We're going to have a world where you're going to have things like the Kavanaugh hearings where all of a sudden audio will appear of Schumer strategizing with Michael Avenatti, or video will appear. It'll be fake, but video will appear and it'll be Kavanaugh partying hard as an undergrad at Yale. It'll be fake, but in our echoed silo chambers of the way we consume media right now, it's going to be potentially much more divisive than what we know today.
And for all of that stuff, though, like I say, if you're serious about finding the truth out about something, you can do that. But in the world that we live in, for all of these technology advancements that are great, that people will use to do bad things or to try to divide us, a good portion of people trying to divide us are our own selves. And the other side of it is we let them because we don't want to think anything other than the things that we want to think. We want our affirmation, not our information. So we will just go to that and say it has to be true. I want it to be true. So if I go to look for it and I find out it's not true, that's going against my own belief system. And I wouldn't want to go against my own belief system. So part of it is our fault. Again, enough responsibility to go around, enough personal responsibility, enough blame to go around, and enough hate to go around. All of those things are unlimited in scope. And we have an abundance of it. We're growing them everywhere. Personal responsibility, affirmation, information, all of this stuff we can all go grab. It's which one do you want to put in your little shopping basket? Well, I'll take some personal responsibility. Yeah, I'll take some of that. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'll take some blame too. Yeah. But I also want some affirmation. I'll take a little bit of information, but not too much information. I mean, if something's really insane, like George Soros is a vampire, I won't buy it. But George Soros being a Nazi, maybe I'll take a little bit more information, affirmation there, rather than that kind of information, because I want to believe it.
There's actually national security exposures for this country and how much we hate each other around politics. We need communities of people that live in the same neighborhood that believe lots of stuff in common, even when we differ on politics. Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to say this here. You know what else is a big issue? Google. Huge issue. Google's massive. Do you know that there's, 250,000 engineers working at Google? They dwarf China and Russia put together in the amount of engineering that's going on. Some of the things that they want to do, some of the things that they want to try, some of the things that they're able to do with speech and the way that they go about doing it is scary too. It is. It's very interesting. But yeah, these are security issues that we need to be aware of. But part of that, I also look to the people and I say, part of this is your own personal responsibility. Just because somebody tells you something or shows you a meme or you read it somewhere doesn't mean it's true. If you are honest about trying to find into yourself and saying, I'm honest about my belief system, I want to find out if this is true or not, you'll do the footwork to find out it's true. But our personal responsibility for many of us out there, it ends once we see something that we go, oh, well, I believe that to be true, so I'll take it at face value. And part of that's on us. And you wonder why that people worry about the nanny state. Well, for a lot of people out there, prove me wrong that you're not an idiot. Many of you guys get it. You're willing to go the extra step. There's a lot of people out there that aren't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Got some interesting words that we're going to go over. The 10, according to the Oxford Dictionary, the 10 most misspelled words in America. Some of these I'm like, really? But it's crazy. Our language is weird at times. I've got several friends who English was not their first language. They're like, your language at times. You think some of these other languages are hard. You'd be surprised how hard it is, your language. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Car Shield. Love my Car Shield. That company. So I've been telling you guys a story. So I went to a company and I bought a car. And they said, they tried to sell me their little, like, extended warranty thing. And I'm like, no, I've got a company I work with, a Car Shield. They're great. They sponsor my show. They're amazing. They've been great to my listeners. They've been really good to a couple of my friends and family who've had to use it. And they said, well, is it as good as this? And I read the pamphlet. I started laughing. I just said, this is horrible. And I told them about Car Shield. Well, apparently they're looking into switching out of that and using Car Shield only. And I said, you're going to be so happy you did. It is amazing. I really am thrilled by what they're able to do. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free. And the thing, when I was looking at this other thing that they were offering me, the thing I laughed about is that they had authorized places to work on where Car Shield allows you to choose your own mechanic. And I think that right there is a winner, is an absolute winner. So they're not trying to get out of something in a cheap way, if you will. Get extended vehicle protection like I did. Call CarShield today, 800-CAR-6100, 800-CAR-6100, or go to carshield.com. That's carshield.com. Use my promo code Benson, saves you 10% right there. Carshield.com. Promo code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. I've got the most misspelled words, according to the Oxford Dictionary, plus your useless fact of the day for a Halloween feel, if you will. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
So, spelling. I'm awful at spelling. So, Oxford Dictionary fame, super. They have the 10 most misspelled words. Some of these you're like, huh? Number 10 is accommodate. Most people spell it ACCOMODATE. It's actually ACCOMM. They missed the second M. This one I found to be, I'm like, really? Which? Because remember, we're a weird, we have weird language. We have which way did he go? Or she's a witch. Oh, yeah. Right? We have meat and meat. Those are so, but the way that they said that it's misspelled is WICH, which I found to be weird, which we know that's not true. It's WHICH. Receive is one. Receive is one. RECIEVE is the way that a lot of people spell it, when really it is RECEIVE. Oh. Until... Usually everybody gives it an extra L. You throw in an extra L. And a lot of times what it is people get kind of the like for me, it's like you'll miss a letter. It's a double R. It's a double whatever it is. Occurred is one of those things where OCCURED is how a lot of people spell it, when actually there's two R's in there. Separate is one where it's an, instead of SEPE, it's SEPA. That's one that people miss. This one right here is one I see a ton of people miss, and I've been guilty of before. It's government. It's actually government. So instead of GOVERMENT, which is, yeah, okay, government, because you're missing the N, it's actually GOVERNMENT. Definitely, I get that one. I see that one missed a lot. Pharaoh. People spell it, and this is number 2. PHAROAH, when actually it is PHARAOH. But the number one misspelled word, publicly. Most people spell it PUBLICALLY, and it's actually PUBILICLY. Publicly. Man, I'm awful at spelling. I am. That's what spell check's for. And here's the other thing, and I was talking to producer Anthony about this too. Like when people there. So sometimes when you're using voice to text, because you've got to do something, and it's on, they'll put whatever there. It seems to be okay, like there. That's not how I meant there. And then people are like, you're an idiot. It's like, I'm doing voice to text. I'm doing 12 different things. Oh, that's frustrating. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Follow us across all the mediums that we've got out there. We've got the Instagram. We've got Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTubes. We've got Facebook. We've got Twitter. Feel free to follow along with us and always engage in the show. I like a good conversation. All right, here's your useless fact of the day. It is Halloween time. One of the famous Halloween things to do, especially for kids, is watching The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Did you know that Charles Schulz was inundated and overwhelmed with candy shipments after it came out because Charlie Brown got rocks instead of candy and treats in his bag? So people sent him candy. Odd, right? It's crazy out there. It is. Hey, can we be nicer to one another today? I think we should. I think we absolutely should. Friday is here tomorrow. That's a beautiful thing as well. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. ChadBenson. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.